Thank you for joining the Small Business Owners and Operators podcast. My name is Drew. I am a small business coach, speaker, and trainer, and I seek to bring you interviews with small business owners and top-notch training in the area of leadership and personal development. So please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast if you're listening to us, and you can get notifications when we have new content that's put out there. And today we have a power-packed interview with Karina Ballantyne. Karina, say hi to everybody, please.
Hi.
Awesome. And Karina is the co-founder, also known as Captain Sweat, with FitKrasia. And so this is exciting. Okay, so Karina was my trainer for a year. Don't hold that against her, okay? She did the best she could with me. I do have to tell a story about when I first came in. So I was thinking about this just a minute ago. I remember the first day I came in, you were like doing an assessment.
Yep.
And I was like, you're like, so what have you been doing? And I'm like, oh, I've been doing cardio. I can do cardio for like an hour. I've been doing the elliptical machine, and you're like, okay, that's nice. So you start having me just like run back and forth, like 15 yards each way. It's not even a thing. And in like 2 minutes, I was like bent over dying. And you're like, what have you been doing for the last 2 years again? And I'm like, okay. So I get a book and I get on the elliptical machine and I read and so anyways,
sorry.
But I run now, so my cardio is better. Okay.
That's awesome. Good to go. Mm-hmm.
I'm growing. I have a better idea now. But anyways, so Karina is very good at what she does. But I want to give you a little bio here. I have a bio here from her. But Karina was born to move, an athlete and dancer from an early age, and has always loved and derived joy and strength from exercising, being active. And after graduating from UCSB with a degree in psychology, she went and worked in the Bay Area, but shortly after came back and just pursued her passion, which was a career in personal training. And so she went to SBCC for 2 years, studied exercise physiology, became certified with the American College of Sports Medicine. So as you can see, Karina is a major achiever. When she does something, she does it right. And but anyhow, she uses foundation training, Pilates, restorative exercise to improve the health and well-being of her clients. And so she does believe that movement is a critical component of optimum mental and emotional strength. And I'm telling you, I've been in her class. Are you still training as well?
Yeah, I train full time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Karina's still training. So if you're in the Santa Barbara area at all, I would encourage you, seek her out and get into some of her trainings, her classes, and you will be grateful you did. I know I was. But let me keep going. As a movement educator, her focus is on the whole body alignment, restoration, and habit renovations. And so as a coach, she's learned that even the best modalities and techniques don't help people unless they actually do them consistently. And so she wanted a smarter way to incentivize her clients to create healthier habits for a long lifetime of fitness. And so in September, her husband, James, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
James, and her began creating a tool to help empower others to empower themselves. And that's why we have FitKrasia now. And so the game combines tried and tested techniques for positive behavior modification into an easy app, an easy play app. So with FitKrasia, she aims to help people create an environment and lifestyle for improved well-being. All right. So
that's right.
You are going to break it down for us.
Yes.
and you're going to tell us. But before we get to that, first, I know what everyone is dying to know is this. How many burpees can you do in 60 seconds?
Oh, God. So that is a tough question. I don't even know. Because let me tell you, there are many variations of burpees. Ooh, and I like to dabble. I like to dabble in all of them. So sometimes I'm doing more mobility burpees where you're going slow and you're placing those feet down and you're going deep in your squat. And then sometimes you're just jumping and the music loud. So I would say it depends. That said, my husband, James, has like a record at one of the gyms, the CrossFit gyms here. He beat everybody in some competition. I think he did like 330 burpees consecutively so he's impressive. Not in a minute, but like in a row. Something.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you how many you can do consecutively.
Don't quote me on that, but he did some outrageous number that's just like, so yeah.
Yeah.
He's a real champ too. So
wow.
yeah.
That is unreal. And we are quoting you on that. So
yeah. I hope the 330 wasn't an understatement.
To correct the record.
There you go.
When we interview him. So, wow. That I'm okay. I'm still processing that because.
Yeah, he's a parkour athlete. So he jumps off. So he lived in London when he was doing a PhD, and he basically learned that free running, and they call it in Europe, they call it parkour, where you're running off buildings and jumping and flying through the air and climbing with no ropes. And it's, the art of displacement, moving through space in the most efficient way possible. So that's what parkour is all about. That means even if he's across a building, so he can move too. So
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Yes. That kind of style. Yeah. That style of stuff. All the American Ninja Warrior dudes, like they're usually trained in parkour when you get their bios. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's fun.
That is so cool. Well, hey, tell us this, because I love this. We talked about this before. What does FitKrasia mean, and where does that term come from?
Absolutely. Well, so the word akrasia has the Latin roots, meaning it means akrasia means the state of mind in which we act against our own best interest due to weakness of will.
Okay.
So akrasia is a state of mind in which you're making decisions that don't really serve your best interest because you're lacking the power of will to make a good decision. And now we'll get into willpower, and what psychology says now about willpower is that, look, it doesn't really work. We have all these environmental pressures pressuring us to do something. We need to set up an environment that pressures us to do the right thing and not push us into, we don't always have to be gritting our teeth and trying to get through on willpower alone, on mental strength alone, because we fatigue, we get tired, There's a lot going on. There's a lot of plates in the air. So what akrasia is state of mind in which we act against our own best interests due to weakness of will. Okay. Krasia is that root word, and that means power, kratos, right? So we took the krasia, took the A away, which is the, anti, and FitKrasia. And there you go. There you have it.
There we go.
A word, but yeah, FitKrasia. There we go. Mm-hmm.
You got to create a word. That's awesome. That is
why not?
Absolutely.
Much better.
Google did it. Why can't we do it, right?
Exactly. So
all right. So using outside positive forces and influences to do things. Kind of
exactly.
That. So okay. So how does that fit into your app and how you have it set up? And how you're using that thought process to set up the whole idea of
totally. Right. Good question. So systems are what work. After a while, your willpower will fail. It's too much, and it's not even really worth worrying about. People feel so guilty about that. They start to think that they're weak. It's a vicious cycle that people get into. They think, "What's wrong with me? I can't do this." Just cut that out altogether. That's not what the top achievers think. That's not how to go through life. So getting a system where that can create positive habits in your life is what we're trying to initiate with our tool. And our tool combines the theory of loss aversion from behavioral economics, which I read about all through college and I read about after college. I'm like, this is pretty powerful. Like, can we implement this? And so loss aversion is basically the idea that people, and it's a tested idea, it's been researched for years and years, since the early 60s. Okay. People are more likely to be averse to losing money, motivated by that prospect, than by the prospect of gaining money. So sometimes in big contracts and corporations, they'll say, we're going to give you your bonus, but we're going to take it away if you don't hit your quota. they found that that will motivate more than just you'll get a bonus if you do X and Y and Z. So that's the idea of loss aversion. People are very loss averse. We don't want to lose what we already have. So we're taking that and we're pairing it with social accountability, which everybody knows is wonderfully helpful to getting something done. You tell somebody, hey, I'll meet you at the gym tonight. You're going to go to the gym. You're not going to sit on the couch. Yeah. So we're pairing that with loss aversion into a tool to create a system for people to kind of give themselves a positive pressure so they can achieve their fitness goals.
And it's in the form of
FitKrasia, the app.
Yes, the bets that you do in the app.
Sweat bets.
Where you make a sweat bet with your friends or some other people on the platform, and
absolutely,
you, instead of the money going to that person, that friend, that money goes to a charitable organization, and so it's
a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win. If you don't do what you set out to do in your goal, then you lose money. So there's the loss aversion. But when you lose money, you actually give it to a charity. So it's a win-win. You win either way. So
absolutely. We wanted to transform any shortcomings that people might have into something positive anyways, because that's the idea, is that, let's make it the most positive impact we can have. Let's make the most positive impact we can create, just us two. So the way that we saw this, we can leverage that money that people put on the line in their sweat bets. If they happen not to achieve it every single time, and we're seeing like 85% success rates with people's goals, which is huge. I mean, that's awesome. It's really helping people stay motivated. But if not, we'll grab that money and we will put it to charity. So it's been really rewarding so far to make those donations. It's been wonderful.
Well, and I'm even wondering if a great way to promote the app and kind of get the word out about it is to go to those charitable donations and say, make this a part of your, 2019 plan or your fall 28 plan of how you're going to raise money. Because as I think about it, and I was thinking about, a charitable organization that I care for, like I put the bet out there, and whether I fully intend on making the sweat bet, but then I was like, you know what, I still like to give the money, because it just it reminds you, like, you're at that point where you're like, I'm prepared if I absolutely have to lose that money, so why don't I go ahead and do the good thing, be healthy for myself, and also, take care of an organization. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking, I think it's a great way to promote those nonprofit organizations as well.
Yeah, we want to promote, we want to share, and we want to show that that people can, still feel good about trying their best and doing, taking that step to making the pact with yourself. It's basically like a contract with yourself when you make your sweat bet. Taking that step is 95% of the battle. You keep doing that over time, you're going to hit your goals. And that's what we're so confident on that. At the same time, I really think that it'd be really fun to, promote these at like the walks and the runs and the fitness events that are charitably oriented, that they're sponsored, so that they can have this opportunity to kind of, motivate people to do their run or their walk, and then have them set a goal. And hey, if you don't meet your goal, it's going to go back to us, and thank you for your support. So it's a win-win. We love it.
Well, you didn't just start right here where you're at. How did you get from there, where you had this desire to help your clients and you knew that they needed some extra motivation, to here? Now you have this app that it's a working app, and people can download it right now. Just search FitKrasia in your app store. And like, how did you get from there to here? Tell us the journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's FitKrasia, Krasia with a K. So it kind of sounds a little different. Well, basically, Drew, I was really scratching my own itch. So we have a chalkboard in our like motivational quotes on. Right now it says "Discipline equals freedom" by Jocko Willink. If you really think about that, it's really profound and hits many layers. But that's beside the point. I was trying to get myself up to go to early morning workouts that were these brutal cardio sweat fests, right? And my body in the morning, I like 2 hours. I want to read. I want to sit around. I want to look out the trees. It is hard for me to get up and go to the gym in the morning. I like the afternoons, but I was finding with my scheduling, my day, I was like, oh, it's not, I need to do this in the morning. So I had a chalkboard challenge with my husband.
Okay.
And we had tally marks and we were doing it every day. But the thing was, we couldn't remember what we were betting on after a while. And then it wasn't really about the, what we were handing each other to when somebody lost. And I thought, this should be on an app. Like, this needs to be easy to do, to customize, social, so I can play with more than one person. And there's not this big burden of who's keeping track, who's keeping score, kind of easy interface wise in terms of easy to play with a big group of people. And so it was born out of that chalkboard challenge about me getting up early and going to early morning workouts. So that's how it started. And then it fell in naturally because I have noticed over the years of training, and I've been training for about 7 years now, that, I can show people the most funky, fun, fresh, whatever moves, whatever, I can give them so much education, background, and books and things to read. And it doesn't work by osmosis. So we need to actually create these habits and keep doing things. And you are what you do consistently. And so it was about potentially helping most of my clients if they, if they wanted to get on the app too. But
absolutely,
just that idea, we need to do this, and we need to be actually building this into our day. Movement needs to be part of our lives in a bigger way. And we have all these pressures and all these influences to keep us immobile. Like right now, I'm having a real hard time sitting here. I'm like wiggling around, like, oh, this chair. So we have, our cars, our computers, our TVs, our everything, text messaging, work. Most people sit working, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we combat those forces? How come we have nothing motivating us to move more? That was it.
And so you sought to solve a problem.
Absolutely. And like the Fitbit helps solve that problem too. However, I don't care how many steps I take. That isn't interesting to me. Yeah. I want to, how many times this week I can do battle ropes, how many times this week I can foam roll. I want it to be customizable and able to adapt with my changing needs. So if I feel like I'm going to want a yoga kick this month, I'm going to do that. I want to just make it to the gym 3 times or 4 times this week. Looking at my calendar, I want to be able to customize it fully to adapt to my goals.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
It's fun.
That's awesome. So, well, what is the greatest lesson you've learned in business?
This is an easy one. My dad is a wonderful human being, full of wisdom. And he used to bring home lots of anecdotes and little fables and morals when we were kids. But something he always said was this quote that's been attributed to many people. I think it's attributed to Thomas Jefferson and all sorts of people, but it's the people don't care what you know until they know you care. And that has taken on many shapes. What I've realized with my physical training, my personal training business, is that it's really just about loving people. I can love and care for people and encourage them to move in ways and safe ways. But when you get down to it, it's how can I spend this hour loving this person, caring for this person, mind, body, spirit, and helping them feel better? Because that's what movement unlocks, this great feelings. We start to oxygenate, we start to get blood flow, and we have a better day after.
Absolutely.
I'm not making this up. This is no.
Stuff.
So my just caring.
Try exercising sometime. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it works, right? It works. Yeah, it works. So just loving people and caring for people, above all else, first things first, is probably the best business lesson. And, when you read things about startups and business, you got to create value. What does that really mean? It means helping people, making something that helps people. And how do you help people? You find out what they need and you find a way to deliver it and try to get it out there to as many people as possible and help as many people as possible and spread the love.
That is great. And you live that, and you've been living that for years, because I remember being in your class just as you were talking, and I was thinking, you know what, you're tough. You know, you put on a very challenging class, which is why people pay you to be their trainer, because they need you to push them, but not in a mean way or an abrasive way or anything like that. That you're very loving, like you said, in that way, not non-judgmental, you know, where people are at, and helping them get pushed beyond their own challenges, and knowing that everybody's competing against themselves. You know, they're not trying to be
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you're awesome, you know, and or your husband does 330 burpees. That's amazing. But
he's going to kill me if that's not the right number. He's going to be like, what did you say?
And so you undershot it just to be safe, but but anyways, but you really know and kind of emote that hey, just get better than you were last week, you know, and then the next week the same thing. And I think that's huge. That's
all I'm trying to do. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do every day. Like, can I just be a little bit better? Can I be a little bit healthier, make better decisions today? And, you know, I'm relentlessly positive, and I have extraordinarily high expectations for everybody.
That's great. People tend to rise to the expectations that you set for them, you know?
Exactly. And that's that combination with my clients. It's like, I'm positive. I'm always bringing positivity, but I'm also, that's that tough part, right? I have these expectations for people, and I expect them to feel their potential. And that used to be a source of disappointment when I was younger, when people would not rise to their potential. You know, back in my teens, when I was still learning and growing a lot, which I am now, obviously, but you know, when you're meeting people and in college, and like, wow, that person acted kind of crappy. How could somebody do that? You know, and that was always a shocker for me, because I expect people to play their A game all the time. Yeah. So I try to encourage everybody, including myself, to do the same thing. And it's not a destination; it's a journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Let me ask you this. What do you see as the greatest challenge to small business owners like yourself?
So I thought about this quite a bit for myself and for every other business that I see out there. The information overload that we all experience now. Yeah. I think we're all being dinged. Like we were talking earlier about how we all turn off our notifications now. There's just too many things dinging in your life, right? Yeah. So, I mean, and then the ease at which advertising has infiltrated our screens, our streets. So we're all being shown so many messages that it is hard for a business to shine through that and to be seen and be heard and be given a chance. So I would say that is the biggest struggle that I feel like small businesses, especially not having the deep pockets that bigger corporations do, will struggle with, is getting their message across in a very noisy world where people's attention is just scattered so much that you almost have to do something obscene and shocking to get the attention. So,
like a burpee challenge.
Yeah, like a killer burpee challenge, which is in the works. We're building in like challenge prompts into the app. James is doing that currently, so that we can also help prompt people. You know, if you sign in the app and you're like, oh, great, what do I want to do? You know, and then we can, hey, what about this? And we're going to have like mobility challenges and strength challenges. And so that'll be really fun. So I can kind of create programs throughout the app as well.
That's great. That's great. So I totally plan, full disclosure, I missed telling all the people out here, you know, I missed the challenge that started yesterday. I just didn't do it right. And so, anyhow, I am going to be, when this interview airs, I will be doing a challenge with someone. I just saw my wife is signed in. So either with her or with a friend. And, you know, my wife and I, we've been running consistently for a while and got back in our routine. And I think a challenge at this point would be just what we need to kind of kick it to the next level, right? So we've been doing good,
Totally.
but we got to
And
get
it can even be like a stretching challenge. I mean, my little brother, he plays handball really actively in San Francisco. He plays in tournaments and matches. All his challenges are like, stretch your shoulders, do your hamstring stretches, make sure you foam roll. Because those are the things that he knows he will, taper off or just forget to do if he doesn't make that contract with himself. So.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow. That might even be more challenging than burpees.
Well, exactly. For some people, they're like, I'll jump around all day, but don't make me stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good one.
Got me thinking now. All right, we better keep going. Well, let me ask you this. What was the turning point in your business, or was there a moment where you thought, I think we have something special here?
Cool. I think that from the beginning, when we shared the idea with people, it's a pretty easy to digest idea. It's, make your goals or we're going to donate to charity. Everybody gets excited about that. I think the turning point for me personally, as somebody who's been putting in the hours and watching my husband put in 10 times as many hours because he's the developer, solo engineering it, So was when I was making the charitable donations and we were able to buy a stand-up desks or a classroom stand-up desks through Donors Choose. To me, that was like, this is awesome. We just leveraged more than we could have donated on our own into improving a classroom for these kids and getting them moving. I mean, look at that ripple effect. That to me, awesome. My heart was like growing, just doing that. So I really felt a new, fresh wave of motivation to keep going with the app. Like I said, it's hard to think about doing this. It's just he and I. We don't have funding yet. So we're just pushing along, just us two. And it's fun. And it's like sometimes, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? And then when I made those donations, I was like, we're for sure doing the right thing.
Wow.
And then, so cool. Yeah, getting some feedback from some of our users who are really benefiting from just having a little bit of that social support and a little bit of that extra layer of push to get off the couch. Because you can have the gym membership, you can have the wearable tech, and it doesn't do you any good if the wearable tech is in the closet or in your nightstand, and it doesn't do you any good if you just act like that gym membership is just another bill and you pay it every month and you don't think about it. So having that consistent little nudge is really helping our users, and that means the world to me. So I'm really stoked on that. Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on this next question, I almost feel like you have kind of answered it already with your quotes and all this stuff, but let me ask it anyways. How has personal development and continued learning been a part of your life over the years?
A huge part of my life over the years. I could not have gotten through, to be the person I am today. I could not have been here without the influential leaders in my life, the books I've read, my parents, all of those things combined, and choosing the messages that I want to reinforce in my life. So it's a huge part. And I fully believe that one of the best parts of it is personal growth. And that we need to value that. We need to place more value on that. And we learn from each other so much. Everybody has something unique to give to each other. So just that sharing is key too. And that's why working with a coach is so beneficial, because you just get to see a mirror back to yourself, and then they can share a specific or perspective that maybe you didn't think about. So the more we can open our minds and hearts to growth and development, I think is really key. And it's been a huge part of my life. I mean, my dad gave me the Tony Robbins book when I was young. And I think every great book that he read, whether it was a business book or just a personal development book, real positive thinking story, he passed on to me when I was in high school. And so I was always interested in it. I've always been reading nonfiction, so huge.
So good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do that with my kids too. I pay them to read personal growth books.
That's fantastic. I think that's great. Incentivize.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, as we wrap up, tell us this, what's something that you are working on right now?
Well, we are working on FitKrasia right now. We are working on creating this platform for users to engage with the product with their friends in a really simple, easy way. You can place the bets on yourself, solo sweat bet. You can do a duel against a friend, in which case your friend gets the money if you don't make your goal. So there is that option.
Oh, I didn't know we had that one.
Yeah, a lot of people really like that. So that's their motivation.
Just one other person?
Just one other person. You go head to head in a duel.
Hmm.
So that one's really fun. My brother recently did one with his friend who can win a Spartan race. So just them together, not like win it overall, but two of them.
Yeah.
So there's a duel. Exactly. So that really motivates some people. That, it's kind of like whatever gets you going, So we wanted to accommodate that. And then we are working on people being able to use this tool with their fitness studios and gyms to play with their friends at the gym. So more to come on that soon. But we're building this so that everybody has access to the ability to reach their goals with the right motivation and the right system. And this has been working really well for us. Loss aversion, buttressed with the social accountability. And so we hope it works for everybody else too.
That is so cool. That's exciting. Gosh, I learned something new that I didn't realize. We've had multiple conversations, so I'm glad that the listeners all get to hear that right now. And I'm gonna have to call out a friend probably.
There you go.
I bet now, and we'll have to go that route. Well, how can people connect with you and your company?
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll have my email in the show notes. You can always shoot me an email. I am very responsive. I love talking to people, love getting new ideas. I'm just a sponge, so shoot me an email. And then we are at www.FitKrasia.com. We have our more information about the tool, and then download the app, play around with it. It's totally free. You don't have to put money down on it. We just make that option because we know it's powerful, but you can always bet zero and just use it as like a way to track your goals. And we have so many different ways that you can manage your goals. So if you're a runner and you want to track mileage, you can do that. If you want to just say, hey, I beat my friend golf, yes or no, the activity sweat bet. If you want to make sure you do something every day, we have the everyday sweat bet, and that's really intense because then you're like, oh, I got to get it done. I was doing TRX rows at 8:30 at night last night after dinner. It was not pleasant, but I got them done. And then, so we have it all there, and you can learn more about it and just play around and shoot us feedback if you have any, because we would love that so we can get better.
Awesome. I will have your email and the links to the website so people can get on there, and then
start playing.
Website too. You can download the app, so everything is right there. We'll make sure we have it for everybody. A couple rapid fire questions. You good for a couple rapid fire questions? Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. What was the last thing you watched on TV, and why did you choose to watch it?
Oh my God, I watched Planet Earth 2. The Komodo dragons were like battling, and there were these iguanas. Oh wow, it was amazing, mind blowing. So.
Planet Earth, good
iguana
stuff.
And across these snakes was
Oprah narrating.
Planet Earth. No, it was Planet Earth 2. I think it was David Attenborough. Yeah, okay. It was phenomenal. So I like to always try to watch something that teaches me something. So little Planet Earth to help me learn a little bit about this beautiful world we live in.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What were you like in high school?
I was such a dork. Yeah, I was a mock trial. I was totally into mock trial. Okay. I cut my hair really short. I wore the same white t-shirt and jeans every day because I didn't have time to think about clothes. I played every sport. I was obsessed with playing sports and running and soccer and cross country, dance, tennis team, swim team. But I was like one of those kids who was just busy from the time they got up to the time they went to bed, and did not have much of a social life. My best friends are still my best friends, my mock trial girls.
Wow.
And so I did a lot of nerdy extracurricular activities.
There you go.
But I loved it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
How about this? A 6-year-old child asks you if Santa Claus is real. What do you say?
Oh gosh. Of course. Yes. Of course.
What else would you say?
Yeah, I would say that Santa Claus is magical and magic is real, and there we go.
There you go. How about this? What would your pet say about you if we asked for a reference?
He would say I eat a lot of chocolate.
No.
I eat a lot of dark chocolate.
I was going to say it better be dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate, yes, pure dark chocolate. I even eat like the 95% stuff that's
it's just
really
like you're choking on it.
Yeah, it's really medicinal, I would say. So he would say that because I stand at the cupboard while I get my chocolate, and he's watching me all the time going, where's my treat? Where's my treat? So that's why he knows about the chocolate. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So now we know.
Now you know. It's out there.
The secret, is out there.
Yeah.
Or if you would like to get her a gift, then
Yes.
really dark chocolate.
There you go.
Okay. Here's final question. We got to get serious here. Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Oh God, that sounds absolutely horrible, but I know the answer very easily because I'm a little afraid of birds. I'm afraid of anything that flies better than me. So I would rather fight the little horses.
100 little horses?
Yeah, the 100 little horses. Yeah, that would be much better because I don't want to deal with the birds, the flapping.
Well, I think that's what people forget about when I ask that question is that you're talking about a duck the size of a horse. That thing can fly. That's like a pterodactyl.
You can fly.
Prehistoric.
Yeah, you're done. Totally. Yeah, you can fly. It just starts flapping, and I'm gonna run away. I'm not gonna fight it at all. So
it can be mean.
They can. Yeah, exactly. Horses are cute, so definitely the horses.
There you go. Well, now we really know about Karina.
There you have it.
That's
cat's
awesome.
Out of the bag.
Karina, thank you so much for letting me interview you. FitKrasia, folks. I'm going to have all the links for you in the show notes, and look it up. Download the app. Get on there. Get active. It's a win-win. Okay. So thank you so much for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Drew.